All praise and glory and honor to Yahawah, by Sham, Yahawashi. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahawashi being the name of His Son, who the world even knows is Christ. And the lesson we're going to go into is the last of the 4-part series, ingredients to getting the kingdom. And what is works, right? So we're going to go into this lesson and get these precepts so we understand that, we are under grace, but you're going to be saved by your works and by your faith in which ye have believed, right? So let's get right into it. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17. And we're going to start at verse 20. And it reads, "And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahawah is within you." And here's the Shalakah. So, let's read that again. "And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of Yahawah should come, he answered them and said, The kingdom of Yahawah cometh not with observation." So the kingdom of the Most High God is not going to come with observation, right? "Neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahawah is within you." So again, the kingdom is not going to come with observation. It takes what? Faith and works. It requires you to do something, right? It requires you to take action. It requires you to what? Go out on the highways and byways as he commanded his servants to do, and bids you to the marriage, right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 9. "Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye find, bid to the marriage." So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all they found, both good, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. So if you ain't know, this is a parable of bidding people to the marriage of Yahawashi, right? And he commanded his servants to what? Go out and do the work, because the kingdom covered up from observation. And you got to actually go out and do something. But this is how you prove your faith, through your works, right? You prove your faith by going out, telling people who they are, according to the scriptures, and actually believing, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 14. "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid." What's that city? That New Jerusalem, the kingdom of heaven coming down, right? It says, "Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven," right? So your good works that you're doing, man, you're telling your people who they are according to the scriptures. You're telling them to have the faith. You're telling them to do the commandments to the best of your ability, right? Because we got to rehearse the righteous acts. And that's part of showing the Most High you love them, right? You just can't say I love you and not prove it, right? This is the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Yahawah. Then shall the people of the Most High go down to the gates. So yeah, you gotta rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High, man. That's part of showing your faith and doing the work, right? Let's go. Psalms 119 and verse 126. It is time for thee, Yahawah, to work, for they have made void thy law. Right? We made void the law by being disobedient. We fell away from our heritage. So you got to go out there and do the work. Tell people who they are. Let them know you're an Israelite according to the scriptures, man. You got to let them know that the Most High God chose you above all nations, right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, right? So, you're going to be able to escape the said perils by what, man? By your works and by faith. Now, works don't only include doing the commandments, but it also includes doing alms to your brother, doing alms to your sister. You know what I'm saying? You see your brother destitute, you go help him out. You see your sister destitute, you go help him out, right? Matter of fact, let's get that, because the scriptures talk about different alms that brothers did that it came up for remembrance to the Most High God, right? So this is the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 7. Give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thine eye be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of power shall not be turned away from thee. Let's read that again. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 7. Give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thine eye be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of power shall not be turned away from thee. Right? Scripture just telling you right there, give alms to your brother. Don't turn your face away from the poor, right? It's part of the good works you're doing, right? It says, if thou hast substance, give alms accordingly. If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little, right? Remember when Peter seen that lady give, I think it was like a penny, but it was all that she had, and it was counted to her because she gave more than anybody else who had a greater substance, because why? It was all that she had, and she gave it freely, willingly, of a loving heart, right? It says, if thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little. For thou layest up a good treasure for thyself against the day of necessity, because that alms do deliver them from death, and suffer not to come into darkness, right? For alms is a good gift unto all that give it in the sight of the Most High, right? The Most High loves when you give alms. He loves when you show brotherly love. He loves that. It's part of the commandments, right? Part of showing that you have the faith. Let me go to Acts. Start at verse 10. Because you got to have both, brothers and sisters. You got to have faith and works. It's part of the ingredients to get in the kingdom. Right? Most High is the master chef. But he laid out all his ingredients in his book. So what? You got to seek out of it, read, and do what it say do. It's just that simple. This is the book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one who feared power with all his house. And let's get understanding. You only can be a devout man if you're an Israelite. Remember, Job was a devout man and shewed evil. You know what I'm saying? Only Israelites are going to fear the Most High God. Nobody else is going to fear the Most High God. This is why. Because they can't follow the commandments that wasn't put in their spirit to do it, right? The Most High put in key words for you to understand what's going on, right? Let me read that again. A devout man and one that feared power with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Yahawah always. So we know the Most High God ain't even hearing the prayer of these other people at all, right? Let's keep reading. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, as an angel of power coming in to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before power. Understand, man. Cornelius is an Israelite. Your prayers are not going to come up for remembrance before Yahawah. Same thing with Tobin, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 3. And verse 30. Water will quench a flaming fire, and alms maketh an atonement for sins, right? Let's read that again. It's the book of Sirach or Ecclesiastes of the Apocrypha, chapter 3 and verse 30. Water will quench a flaming fire, and alms maketh an atonement for sins, right? So alms make atonements for sins, if you ain't know. So you doing good to your brother makes atonement for sins. You also can show alms financially, monetarily. And you also showing alms by telling people who they are, man. Telling your brothers and sisters who they are. Whether they want to hear or whether they want to fulfill, right? These are different ways you showing that you have works. Because works and faith go hand in hand, right? Let's get that. It's a requirement, right? There's always a requirement with the Most High. What I want. This is the book of James, chapter 2 and verse 14. What doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, right? And this scripture is twofold. It's being naked as in the sense of they're going with these other philosophies trying to make their way to the Father. But Yahawashi said, can't nobody come through the door except through him, right? And nobody comes to the Father except for if he draw them, right? So if your brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, man shall not live by bread alone, right? But by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of power, right? So if you're giving alms to your brothers and sisters, telling them who they are, so they can have that covering, they can have a chance to make their garments clean when they get bid to the marriage, right? You also giving alms in the fact of you're not leaving them hungry as far as physically hungry either, right? You may provide some a meal for a brother or sister that you see out there on the corner who's down on their luck in this captivity. You may even provide a winter jacket or a coat so they won't be cold either, right? Let's read on. And one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. Notwithstanding, ye give them not those things which are needful to the body. What doeth it profit? So if you're not giving them what's needful to the body, for them to understand who they are, for them to be filled with the living water, right? For that bread, right? What doeth it profit? Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead being alone. Yea, a man say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works, right? How you show your faith in the Most High? You wholeheartedly are convinced in your mind of who you are, and the Most High gave you a disposition of knowledge to what? Feed the sheep. He asked Peter 3 times, if ye love me, feed my sheep, right? Understand that, man. If you love Yahawah, Yahawashi, man, you gonna do what he say do. You gonna have the faith and the works whereby you have believed, right? Read on. Thou believest that there is one power. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble, right? Esau knows one power. He knows his time is coming up short because the Most High done flooded this world with truth, right? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works? But by works was faith made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled which saith, Abraham believed Yahawah, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of power. Ye see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. Likewise, also was not Rawchaa the harlot justified by works, when she had received the messengers and had sent them out another way? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Yeah, right. So when Joshua sent out the scouts and she hid those scouts and let them out. She had faith and believed that if she did this, her family was going to be spared, right? And what happened? Her family was spared, right? And that was just an example of the Most High showing you that he's faithful to honor the words of his beloved, his saints, right? This is the book of Revelations, chapter 22, chapter 14 and verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahawah and the faith of Yahawashi, right? Yahawashi asks, well, hold up. First, before I bring that out, you got to have both faith and works. It's plain and simple, man. You got to have both. So, Yahawashi had asked a young man had asked Yahawashi, what will it take for him to get the kingdom of heaven? And he told him, first off, follow the commandments, right? Well, he said, I've done all these things from my youth. And he said, well, you've done that. Only thing is left for us, sell everything and follow me. Yahawashi put that test to him to see if the young man had faith. And obviously the young man didn't have faith because why? He ain't do what Yahawashi said, right? So you gotta have what? Both faith and works, man. Can't get around it. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 22 and verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates of the city, right? Blessed are they that do his commandments. But we gotta understand, you gotta have both. There's no way around it. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. There's no way around it. You show your faith by your works. And I'm going to start at verse 38. Arise up and stand. Behold, the number of those that was sealed in the feast of the Most High, which departed from the shadow of the world, and have received glorious garments of the Most High. Take thou number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Most High. The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled, right? And that's the elect being sealed, right? You getting your garments, right? Our garments right now is filthy rags, but through Yahawashi, we're able to wash our garments in his blood to where they're clean, right? They're unspotted, right? Says, the number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Most High, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed, right? And in this 4-part lesson, we went over being the elect from the beginning. It's like these are certain spirits that the Most High put on this earth to receive the kingdom, be the first fruits of what? To get it the first go around, right? That's the honor, man. That's the race that you're running, right? We know. I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Most High with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly, right? That man is Yahawashi, right? So through all of this, these men had the faith and the works toward Yahawashi. They're showing their faith in Yahawashi, that he died for their sins, And they're showing their works toward Yahawah by what? Doing what he said do. And it reads, and in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? And he answered and said unto me, These be they that put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of power. Now they are crowned and receive palms. Then I said unto the angel, the young man, Then I said unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hand? And so he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahawah, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Most High. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Most High thy power thou hast seen. Right? So Ezra seen the ones who were bid to the marriage, the ones who kept the faith and the works toward Yahawah, Yahawashi, right? And he commended those men stiffly for standing, crying and sighing on the highways to let their people know who they are. Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, by Sham, Yahawashi. Israel, you got to be humble enough to accept correction. You got to be first chosen from the aforetime to receive this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You got to have the faith toward Yahawah, Yahawashi, to believe that he sent his only begotten Son to die for you. And you got to show that faith by doing the work. This has been the ingredients to getting the kingdom. And once again, Lord willing, it's been edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, by Sham, Yahawashi. Till the next time I say, Shalom.